guys, welcome back. So as you can see behind me, I have my seed starting station set up in my bay window in the kitchen again. This is my 5th year in a row to grow my plants, all of my starts for my spring and summer garden in this window right here. Mostly summer plants. We're talking nightshades, coleus, basils, all of the warm weather items that I'm not particularly too keen on winter sowing. So let's get started. It's going to be a long video because not only am I going to start these seeds with you tonight, it'll probably be tonight by the time we get done. You're going to help me pick out what to grow this year because I have no clue. I'm leaning towards hybrids for the tomatoes, but I have not even looked at my seeds. I don't even know how many plants I want to grow. Don't know if I'm going to have a plant sale this year. I'm just going to wing it. I'm going to figure it out when we sit down to look at those seeds. But before we get started, all of my trays are scattered in the backyard, the front, in my little greenhouse. I can't start seeds without those trays. So I got to go find them. We're going to clean them, go find my little seed starting Target hack containers. I'll show you those here in a minute and we will get started. A little bit of snow we have left. We've had 4 snowstorms this winter, which is incredible. But right now we're looking for trays. And unfortunately, I am a messy gardener, but I do see a tray here. We'll take these 2. I see some over in my poor neglected mini little greenhouse. Looks like there's about maybe 7 or 8 there. We'll take those. You can see I need to replace this cover soon, and we're going to clean this up. Oh man, I forgot to water these. Oh, that's not good. Why'd you move over here? All right, I've got some water. Trying not to be distracted here, but this is like an urgent need for these perennials that I saved. I don't know. I think these were babies from self-seeding. These were cuttings of 9-barred. Yeah, I'm gonna get some more rain. There's just ice in there. All right, I'm back in the little greenhouse. I do need these trays. I need the small trays as well, the 10 by 10s. And it doesn't look like all 10 of mine are in this area, so I'm gonna have to go do some investigating. I am so behind for spring, as you can tell, but just this, I can't even walk in here. This is ridiculous. But I found a tray. We'll take this tray, and those guys do not have a tray. I still am missing a bunch of my 10 by 10 trays, but we're gonna take this for now. Tonto absolutely loves this winter snowy weather. Do you want somebody? He comes out to eat snow all the time. It's so cute, right? Right, buddy? Okay, we're gonna dump these on those plants over here. There we go. Now they got lots and lots of moisture, and I've got another tray. All of my winter sowing. The broccolis are really starting to grow. These I just did yesterday, so they got a ways to go, but I do have a lot of germination on the dill, which is great. And this is all I could find. So I've got 3 10 by 10, and I'm not even going to count them. I'm going to say 8 or 9 of the 10 by 20. I'm going to fill up my kitchen sink with some nice soapy hot bleach water, and I will get busy cleaning these. Thankfully you don't have to watch that. I'll see you back in a little bit. We'll go through the seeds, then we'll get busy planting. Just using a Dollar Tree mesh wire basket as my shifting tool, or sifting. I guess it's sifting tool. You can see I am getting a few chunks out, which, you know, you don't want any chunks in your soil, but there are going to be some. I mean, that's almost inevitable nowadays that, yes, you're going to have some mulchy bits. So I'm not going to talk about soil this year. I might even double sift this soil, but had a horrible time with my soil last year, and it's the same seed starting mix I had recommended for a couple years, and I really think something happened with the coconut core that was in it. I think it was high in salt, and I had a lot of stunted plants. I had a lot of issues I had to work through last year with seed starting. That was one of them. And I did some reviews of that soil online, and I started seeing a lot of people posting that same problem, same exact stunting with their seedlings. So I'm not recommending soil anymore. I feel like that's a very personal decision, and people just need to do their research and come to a happy place with their soil. As far as it's a balance, it's a trade-off, you know, cost versus quality, and is there a happy median somewhere? You can also make your own soil, and I just don't have time to do that this year. So I'm using what's in my garage, and I am just taking the time to get out the mulch bits. And I have a feeling my plants will do just fine. And I have been using the same soil to do my winter sowing. It's been safely kept in my garage, so not outside. I put a big lot of it here in this glass bowl, stick it in the microwave for 2 minutes. And I'm not doing that with like container planting, with like winter sowing. I'm only doing that with my indoor seed starting. I'm just nuking that soil for 2 minutes, bringing it in here, getting out all the chunks. Then we are going to wet this a little, not soaking wet at all, just moisten it. Just barely moisten it, barely. But it feels very moist-ish. Not super moist, but I think it'll be just fine. And we can get started with planting those seeds. The reason I'm nuking my soil as I bring it in, one glass bowl at a time, is that I don't want to introduce any pathogens and or fungus gnat issues into my home, into my growing station where I've got my little baby seedlings that are pretty vulnerable. You know, even 2 years ago, I was adding in some worm castings as part of my mixture that I was mixing up for my seeds. I think that's also, maybe I've come to the conclusion, a risk of introducing some possible pathogens as well. So I'm not doing that this year either. Basically, I'm just using potting mix, moisture control potting mix, that I am taking the time to get all of those bits that are too chunky, too big out of. And then we're just going to use this. You can see it does have some perlite in it. You know what? I have a big bag of perlite in my garage that I've not used. I think I'm going to add that. As soon as we get about, let's say 70% full with this big bowl, I'm going to go get that and add it in. I think our little seedlings will definitely appreciate that. This is the seed starting mix I used to use, but then I had a major issue last year with it, and I just, that's why I don't want to recommend anything anymore, because I'm afraid if I do and someone uses it, they'll have a problem as well. So this bag, I don't know if it's the bag I bought in 2023 or the bag I bought last year to seed start. Regardless, I want to do an experiment and start some of the exact same seeds in some of this. And then we'll start some in some of our freshly processed soil here. This is just potting mix that does have fertilizer in it. This also had a tiny bit of fertilizer in it as well, but it also had a lot of that coconut coir. I am going to mix in the perlite now. Probably we should put in about, let's say, half a bag. All right, so I only had to mix in probably just a quarter of the bag, but it ended up fluffing it up beautifully. So this is what we're going to start with. So for seed starting, indoor seed starting, I like to start with light and fluffy soil. And I'm going to go ahead and add just a wee bit of water. And then I'll show you the containers that I like to start all my indoor seeds in. It's a hack from Target that I've been doing for several years. The first 2 years I did various different plugs or little seed cobs. I've even done the toilet paper rolls, little yogurt tubs. I've done it all, I think. I haven't done soil blocking though, but I do have a soil blocker that I'm going to try. These are the containers I buy by Target. It's called Bright Room. They're just storage trays. They're very flexible. They wash well. The plants seem to do incredible in them. And all I do is I drill holes in the bottom with my husband's drill. And I use 3 different sizes. This is my favorite size for starting a whole block of tomato seedlings or peppers. And I also use this size as well. I've been using these, I would say, at least 3+ years, 3 to 4 years. Been doing beautiful. They still look like new. So that's what I use to indoor start my seedlings, are these containers. So they seem to fit my 10 by 20, which is this tray here, 10 inches by 20 inches tray, and my 10 by 10, my 10 inch by 10 inch tray in various configurations. You know, I can move these around and do just various configurations based on my needs, and they just seem to fit so well. And because they are flexible, you know, you can give them a little give here and there as needed, but I'm just really happy with them. And it was a cheaper investment for me than ordering, say, these similar size trays from Bootstrap Farmer. I do highly recommend the trays from Bootstrap Farmer. Love those so much. In fact, I needed a few more, so I went ahead and placed an order the other night so that I can start some soil blocking. I ordered the mesh insert that's hefty duty, and then 5 more of these trays because I just love them so much. All right, so let's get these filled, moisten that soil, and we can actually start planting our seeds. So before I add the soil, before I plant the seeds, I'm thinking ahead, okay, I've only got 2 heating mats, and I definitely want my peppers and my eggplants on the heating mats. So I'm going to go ahead and arrange my configurations based on which seeds I'm putting into what size pockets. So for things that I'm just going to grow, you know, 3 to 5-ish, maybe 6 plants of, say, this jewel amethyst, I'll just put probably 3 to 5 seeds into this after it's filled with soil, because I don't want a lot of those. So I don't need one of the big block trays for that. But for like the California Wonder or the Poblano, I want a lot of those, like 20 plants. So I can start 20 to 25 seeds in one of these size containers. I'm just moving right along, finding placement for all of my seeds, what size container I want to put them into. And so I'm leaving one pocket open here for an experiment. I'm not sure which seeds I'm going to choose to do the experiment with, but I'm going to grow, let's say, 5 to 6 seeds of something I have a lot of, not like a expensive hybrid seed, but one of my cheaper seeds. I'll put in that seed starting mix that I bought either in 2023 or 2024. And then I'll also have a container right next to it with the mix we are using this year. So we will be able to watch a very direct comparison. They're going to be grown in the same tray. They're going to be grown with the same lights. Everything will be the same except for the soil. So I will get some kind of conclusion, although it's not a perfect trial because I did have extra bags left as I went into 2024 that were from 2023. I didn't really have the same issues in 2023, but I had done half potting mix that year and half of the seed starting soil. So that could have gave me a buffer if there was an issue in 2023. It's just not a great test, but it's going to give me some clarity as to what went wrong last year with my soil. So I've got all the soil in the containers. Yeah, you may not want to go too heavy on the perlite. There are some studies about that. If you use too much, there's like a happy range, and I can't remember what it is. But this looks okay to me. I'm happy with it. I did go ahead and label my containers, all of these right here, all 5 of these. I really like craft tape for this. I do not like using duct tape. So I'm going to go out in the garage and find my other tape because this is not working well. When I go to lift these up, they're getting stuck. Do not like that. I'm going to go ahead and moisten the soil, and then we will put those seeds into these containers. So we're going to work on Jamestown seeds first. You see the soil is now moistened, only the top. I did not soak it all the way through. We're going to be misting these guys the first week or two. We're not going to be worried about bottom watering until our plants get bigger with a couple, sets of true leaves so that they can have those big roots to actually reach down into the bottom of our tray, because they're not going to have really big roots in the beginning. They're just going to be little babies sprouting. And so we're going to keep this top level moistened so that they can sprout and they can grow and they can develop those roots. There's only about 10 or 11 seeds here. So I'm going to go ahead and put, I'm going to say 6 into this container. And there they are. You can see them, 6 little tomato seeds. And now on this piece of paper where I've been jotting down a bunch of notes, I'm going to write the number 6 on here somewhere So I'll know exactly how many seeds that I put into this container, and that will give us an idea of how well these seeds germinate for us. I also put today's date. And now we're going to come back over to our soil. I'm just going to grab a little pinch of it because we're only going to cover about 1/4 of an inch deep for these tomato seeds. And then I'm going to take this over to the sink and I'm going to just kind of wet or mist the top level. And then we're going to put saran wrap over the whole tray on the top once we're done with all of the cups. Okay, so they are seeded. A little bit of soil on top of the seeds, like 1/4 inch. And then we moisten that soil that we just put on top of the seeds. And now you can see I'm making a makeshift humidity dome with just plastic wrap. This works perfectly fine for me. I have a ton of it because I always buy the big one from Costco and they last for years. So this works great for me. I'm going to suspect we're going to have germination in 3 to 5, 7 days at the most on these tomatoes. And not going to be putting the tomatoes on the heat mat. Now in a minute we're going to do some peppers. I'm going to put those on a heat mat. Okay, so over here at my seed starting station, which is just foldable bookcases that I bought 5 years ago to put in this bay window. The bay window only measures like 11-ish inches in depth, so I had to find a very specific size to fit this window. Thankfully, the trays are 10 by 20, so they're 10 inches in depth as well. So it worked out great. I only have 2 heating mats though, and that's all I really need because I'm only putting my eggplants and peppers onto the heating mats while they're in the tray. Tomatoes, you know, this window gets pretty warm, pretty hot. You can see the sun's coming in. They do fine without the heating mat right here in this location. If you have a cooler location trying to grow in like a basement, a garage with a lot of artificial lighting, you may want to invest in a heating mat. And honestly, before I ever bought the heating mats, I did just fine here in the window without them. Maybe just a little bit slower. And at night or, you know, in the off light time where my peppers and tomatoes were not getting grow light, I would put them on my counter at night when the dishwasher was running, and it would keep them nice and toasty that way too. So you can work around it. If you want to buy a heating mat, it's a nice thing to have. It's not a necessity though, but since I do have them, we're going to use them for those peppers and eggplants. And then in all the other empty slots that I have, we will put our tomatoes, we will put our basil, we'll put some summer flowers. And I think we're going to be pretty full here in a few minutes. I'm getting ready to seed the second tray, and I'll just keep working. Probably the next time I turn this on, you will see it's dark outside because I'm going to have to start cooking dinners. I'm going to have to just do a tray at a time in between cooking dinner. One thing that I recommend that is not, in my opinion, like a voluntary thing, like, you know, a want, like something you don't have to have. I really feel like a way to protect your eyes is so important. So this is just a car reflector for the window of a car or van. It's got a silver lining. And so once I put all of my trays in here and I get my lights turned on, I put this on so that the reflective side is toward the window, and that blocks all of those grow light lights from coming in to the kitchen here where we're often coming in and out, eating and so forth. We don't want to damage our eyes by not protecting them. Grow lights can be really harsh on your eyes. So that's something I kind of mention yearly to you guys, that yes, reflect that light, help your plants out by doing so, but you also want to protect your eyes, and that is so, so important. I'm going to go ahead and set up the experiment for Eva Purple. So you can see I have 2 packs of seeds, right? The same thing, Eva Purple. I'm not going to use both of the seed packs. I'm only going to use 1 seed pack. We'll use this one for both cups. I will use the exact same seeds, but one will have the seed starting mix. One is going to have the soil blend that I am using this year. I've already got my label ready. So one of them, the one on the right, is going to be the seed starting mix. And then the one on the left is going to be Eva Purple potting mix. So, and you'll be able to see the difference in the soil in just a second after I get them seeded. The one with all the coconut coir, the seed starting mix is definitely a paler color. It doesn't have as much rich fluff to it. And so we'll have a lot of perlite in the one with the potting mix. So even if the labels get mixed up, we're going to be able to tell them apart. There was only 8 seeds in the Blushing Star pack, so I added half of the container with Everleaf Lemon Basil. That's just a note to myself, but they're different seedlings. They will look different once they get their true leaves, so I'll be able to tell them apart. Just didn't want to waste that growing space there. And now I'm ready to sprinkle that little bit, 1/4 inch or less of soil over top. And then we're going to moisten this again, put on our saran wrap, stick it up here in their grow station. Now, once they have germinated, we have to take that saran wrap or humidity dome off. I have 2 empty trays. So cutting back on the amount of seeds I'm starting, tomatoes and peppers, I've got room for flowers, some more herbs, but we're not done yet, guys. I'm going to show you how I stack my trays because this is way too far apart from the lights. So I'm going to stack my trays. We're going to get these trays here with the seeds about this far from the light. See how I stack my trays? And as the plants get bigger, I'll take away trays, and those trays will be used for plants who are getting up potted from this block planting method. But you can see how close my trays are to the lights. And I don't need the lights on the first day, maybe the second day, but definitely by day 3, these lights need to be on before the seeds sprout. You do not want them sprouting and the lights still off. I do have my heating mat turned on. Remember, that's only going to stay on until they're germinated, and then I will turn it off. All right, guys, come back for week 1 update, which will be Monday, next Monday, and we will see how much germination we've got going on and see what steps we need to take at that point. Talk to you soon. Bye.